Guys, gals, and pals, welcome back to Paint and Talk episode 23. Right off the bat, I have a new palette today. This is because I'll be painting in grayscale today, primarily, and I wanted to be able to separate the colors. So this is a different palette. You'll never see it again, though. So, as always, I hope you guys have been doing fairly decent since the last time I've seen you, which was 24 hours ago. So I hope it's been good. I hope it's been a good 24 hours. Not too good. I hope you can definitely surpass it tomorrow. But I still hope it was a solid day today. You know what I mean? I myself have been doing pretty well, and I'm very excited to paint here today because before we get into today's topic, which is how connected we all are, alienation, as you will see in the title, I want to talk about the painting in front of me because the first time I put a wash onto the canvas, I believe it was, I want to say yesterday's Paint and Talk was when I said I was going to do this. Maybe it was the day before that, but either way, I put a wash on this canvas, and I, for one, think it came out pretty good. It was my first time ever trying it. As is the rules, I didn't Google a tutorial or anything. I just can only do it based on how, I would think it would be done. So I just took a little bit of blue paint and then poured a little bit of mineral oil over it and then just, lathered that on. I might have taken a class once that told me how to do that, one of those things you take as a kid, in art summer camp, maybe. Because I don't know why I knew it. Maybe I'd seen a short or something, you know what I mean? I knew it somehow, so I didn't search up a video for that, but well, now it really sounds like I searched up a video and I'm trying to cover for it. But yeah, I think the wash is cool. I think it'll make, I'm painting a mountain, and I think it'll make for a good, basing, because all these gray tones will look cooler on a blue, and I think that could be pretty cool. Anyways, though, now that we've gotten some housekeeping out of the way with this painting, I want to talk today about a topic that I think is, really interesting to me, and something that I think, could honestly be two parts, depending on how much I go on about it, you know what I mean? One of those things. And that's this weird thing that's happening, where we're so connected right now. We're the most connected we've ever been. I'm sitting here in New York right now, painting and talking, and you're probably watching it from somewhere really far away. I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that, out of the 10 people that check this one out, maybe 2 of you have been to New York, if that, you know what I mean? And that's strange, that's really strange. We're also connected in other ways. For example, I have friends from London that I keep in touch with. I have friends from Florida. I have friends in other states, other countries, and that's another crazy thing that has never been before. And especially the nature with which we keep up with each other, right? Because you watching this and me making these and us having this sort of painting and talking thing, that is very different than the fact that I can now call a friend who lives all the way in Florida and keep up with him fairly well. That's kind of insane if you think about it. And it's so, at first, when I was thinking about this, I was like, okay, but in the past, you could always send a little letter to somebody, it wasn't like you could be best friends with them, but you could send a letter and stuff. And that's just so different from the way it is now. And even the way in which we interact with the people in our immediate vicinity, in your area, has changed, You're probably texting people right now, as you're watching this. There's a solid chance that you are texting a friend about whatever it may be, having a conversation. That's crazy, you know what I mean? That's a little bit insane. I know I have a lot of my friends' locations, and they have my location. Again, that's a lot, And then past that, they see if you're on Snapchat, they see your Snapchat stories, they get snaps from you. If you're on Instagram, they see what you're liking on Instagram, they see your Instagram stories. Maybe if you post a bunch, they see that, I mean, even think about this right here. We're on YouTube, but I post these every day along with a billion shorts a day. That's a lot. That's a lot to see of me who you don't know. And, that's weird, right? And I feel I don't know, I feel as I got older, I started to appreciate that significantly less, to be honest. Which I think is strange, because I think a lot of people, appreciate it a lot. I don't know. Let me know, I think to just start off here, let me know your thoughts on this, just in general, because I know I myself have definitely like rejected this in large part, you know? It's one of the reasons I deleted Snapchat. It's one of the reasons I don't have any of my friends on Instagram. You know, I text a couple people, but not that much, you know? I've definitely made an effort to make myself significantly less connected than I otherwise would be, but I know I have a lot of friends who are like, no, like I like it. Like I like being able to see where all my friends are all the time and text them whenever I want and expect a response. And, you know, as much as I think it's quite frankly just like a little bit strange how connected we all are, people like it. People do like it. So I would love to hear your thoughts if I'm in the minority here, because I feel like this being so connected is just not, I don't think it's a good thing. And I'm going to reference a quote that I think or not like a quote, I guess it's more of an anecdote or whatever, but I think I've referenced it a couple times, maybe once in a video, once in a Paint and Talk. And that is like the Bo Burnham quote about social media, not focusing on our text habits and all that, just on social media for a second. We have this tendency, is that the word? We have this trend where we speed things up over time, right? And in some cases, this is good, like medical technology or whatever. You know, like in a lot of cases, this is a very good thing. But I think we've also sped up social interaction. I'm Bo Burnham talking right now. This is the Bo Burnham quote. And that's something we shouldn't be speeding up. That's what he says, right? And I completely agree with that. I think, I'm not going to say that video singularly was one of the reasons I started getting off of, you know, being so in touch with everyone all the time, but it definitely is kind of one of the reasons I take pride in it, if that makes sense. You know, I don't like being in touch with people that much. And I've seen, and maybe this is a thing because like of just how I am as a person, or maybe it's a thing of like more of an internet thing, you know? I've definitely been, to put it bluntly, like fairly chronically online since I was younger. I mean, not like, I would never say I was like chronically online, but like, you know, I've definitely spent more time on the internet than like a lot of people who, you know, if you were going out partying in high school, that was not me, you know? Surprise, surprise, I'm making YouTube videos. Like it's not, no one's shocked by that. But, I think maybe it's because of that like I'm more used to having a little bit of solitude because I've just never liked texting all the time. I also think it's kind of unnatural. And this is a crazy thing I'm about to say because, you know, it's kind of out of nowhere, but like right now, if a friend texts me while I'm recording, obviously you guys watch these, I don't grab my phone and start texting in the middle of them. I don't scroll reels while I'm painting and talking. So if a friend texts me right now, I'm not responding for like 40 minutes. And it has happened before, not often, once or twice, where like a friend or someone will text me and like I won't respond because, you know, I'm here and they'll be like, what took so long? And it's like, obviously I don't care. I just tell them, you know, I was recording whatever, I was busy. Like it's not a big deal, but like, isn't that crazy that like we're in an environment where we feel like, oh, I ain't gonna respond in 30 minutes. Like this is weird. Like this isn't good, you know? And if you were, and this is, again, kind of out of nowhere, this is kind of the weird part of the way I think about this, but like, say we were 40 years ago, 50 years ago, I think even like 30 years ago in like the 90s, that would be utterly insane to like be able to reach out to somebody. Actually, I guess they had flip phones by then. I don't know technology's like history that well. But like before the phone came out, that would be utterly insane to be like, why haven't they responded to me in 10 minutes? I need to like know what's going on right now. Like is that not a little bit strange? Because I feel like it is a little bit strange. And I also would argue, and this is like maybe getting a little bit too what's the word? Where you like make something bigger than it is. I don't know, but I think it's unnatural. I do. I think it's unnatural to be able to like truly be available all the time. And that's when I actually started putting my phone on like do not disturb and stuff. Because I realized like I don't want to be available like that all the time. I don't want to, because then when you're available all the time, like it's like, I don't know. I was going to say it's like you're available never, but that's definitely not true. But I feel just so exhausted. you know? And maybe I'm just revealing that I have like an embarrassingly low social battery, but it's exhausting to be able to be like, oh my God, like now I have to talk to them and answer this. And, you know, it really started getting to me. And I think one of the things that I started noticing is like, it kind of took a toll on relationships too, the more I was texting during them. Like the more that I talked to somebody, the more I was like, okay, I don't want to see you. And that's interesting. It's almost like you know, when you're hungry, right? And you eat just a bunch of Doritos. Now your stomach's full of Doritos, right? It's almost like that with social interaction. Like you text so much that you get your social interaction. You don't feel like talking anymore. You don't feel like going out or doing something because you got all of your social interaction already. But you got it on this cheap thing of like a Dorito or a text in this case. So now you feel worse than you did if you just like stayed hungry almost. That's how it started to feel for me a little bit. You know, like it was like fast food social interaction. It's like I'd rather just text less. You know, not like I don't want to make it seem like I'm like Mr. Popular over here getting texted a bunch. I'm not, especially not anymore. But like, cause I started not texting a ton, or like I deleted a bunch of social medias or whatever. Like I'd rather almost just not text you at all and then see you in person and enjoy, you know, if we're going back to the analogy of filling up your stomach on Doritos, I'd rather see you in person and enjoy like a steak together. You know what I mean? Literally and figuratively, I guess. I love steak. And, you know, I think like it's weird because there's like this, and opening this up, not just like, which I've kind of already done this, but like talking about like all of this social media phone stuff. There's this like trend I've seen, not like a trend, but like, I don't know, I've seen this style of video at least 6 times now, the thumbnail for it. I've never watched one because you guys ever see a thumbnail and you're kind of just like, I get the point from the thumbnail, like I agree already. It's one of those things where it's like a guy will be in the thumbnail or a girl or whatever, and it'll be like, it really is that damn phone. Referencing the meme where it's like your mom says everything's your phone, and they're going like, oh, they're right, this phone is bad, right? That's like kind of the concept there. And I've seen it on YouTube, but I've also seen it on like other social medias or whatever, Twitter, anything like that. And it's interesting how like, it's almost like, I don't think anyone knows why. I definitely don't know why. Like if you sit on your phone all day, you feel terrible afterwards. And that's like a little bit strange, right? Because like you keep scrolling because you're entertained. You text people back because you like those people. You do a bunch of things that like, maybe it's not, you know, the best thing in the world. It's not like you're like over the moon, but you're doing a bunch of things that you like generally enjoy doing. So why do you feel so much worse after doing all that all day? Like if you were to, I love watching movies, right? If you were to like put me in front of a movie screen and have me watch movies all day, would I feel like the best after? No, but I definitely would not feel as bad as scrolling my phone. And I think it shows that like whether implicitly or explicitly, or like whether we know why, because I definitely don't know why, as I'm saying here, we do recognize that like this, it's not good to be on your phone all day. There's something that makes you feel really bad about this. Is it mental? I guess it's mental, right? Because it's not physical, even though I personally, and I don't know if this is anyone else or if it's just a me thing, I do feel nauseous if I go on my phone, like for a long period of time. But I don't know if that's like my mind making me feel nauseous, you know what I mean? This gray is just not blending, like at all, which is crazy. Speaking of, this is a weird sidebar. I was watching the Paint&Talk yesterday as I was editing, and like, why did I learn to paint for like 5 minutes of that? Like 5 minutes in, I was like, wait, like I'm doing really good. And then I made that stupid tree man. Like he looked so bad by the end of it. And then so I got kind of insecure towards the end of it, if you guys couldn't tell. So I started like being like, we're gonna paint over it with we're gonna just make this into camouflage. Like an idiot thinking that would save anything. I should have just kept the tree man. Like I should have just owned it. Like, that's something, this is one of my big things, and I completely didn't do it yesterday. I was a complete hypocrite. One of my big things in life is just, like, own what you do. Like, if you do something really bad, like we've all done stuff that we're not proud of, you know what I mean? Own it. Just be like, I did that, and I am either, you know, I would do it again, or I'm doing better now. Like, just own it. And that's one of my big things in life, and not like, and yesterday, I did something that I wasn't proud of. I painted a terrible painting, and I didn't own it. I tried to backpedal. And it just looked bad. I know this is like, no one probably watched it, and like, it's not that big of a deal to anybody, but to me it is, because it's like, I don't know, I felt like I was going against my moral code when I did that, to be honest. And I felt terrible about it. And it was the worst painting ever, and I can't delete it because of the nature of this series, where it's like, it's an everyday thing, but like, I totally would if I could. Because that was, like, just talk about an awful display yesterday. But back on track here about being sad with social media. It's weird that that happens, right? And there's so much that goes into social media. There are these ads online for like this, you know, one of those services that like makes your phone so you can't go on it, which, by the way, just put your phone in another room. Like, that's crazy if you gotta pay $10 a month to not go on Instagram. Just put your phone in the other room. Like, that's crazy, right? Or like, put it under your bed or something if you're like if you don't have much like space to put it in, you know? For me, something I would do is I'd make my bed and put it under it. Like, that's what I used to do when I really couldn't be on my phone. I had to work back during the school days. You know, you just do that. Don't buy one of those services. But anyways, the ad starts with being like, your phone is a billion-dollar government-grade device aimed straight at your brain. And like, that ad makes me kind of mad, but like, there is a hint of truth in that, right? Like, it's such a complicated thing. Think of like how much you're ingesting, I guess. That sounded disgusting, but like, think of how much is going on when you scroll your Instagram feed. Because the whole idea is like, oh, Instagram, you get addicted to the dopamine of the likes and the comments. And that's just not true. Because I don't know about you guys, I am not going on any social media and constantly refreshing to see new likes. That's not what makes the dopamine hit. It's just seeing a new post and seeing a new thing. Like, it's like, I don't know. No, okay, so do you remember those things that you would get as a kid where it's like, you're like, and different photos pop up? It's basically that, just like on a million times speed. And that's why, because we all loved those things as a kid. Or maybe I'm just revealing that I would stare into one of those things for literal hours as a child. And that now we have that in Instagram, right? But that's, so like, so you're scrolling, right? And you're seeing posts from like content creators who are living really cool lives. Like, they're getting paid by like Gucci to go to the, you know, the Bahamas and just show off their new Gucci products. And then you're scrolling more and you see your friend who's posting sad about their breakup. And then you're scrolling more and you're seeing that a new movie was announced. And then you scroll a little more and you see your favorite artist is having like a public episode or something like that. Like that, there's so many different things going on there. It's like having a hangout with 10 friends at once, and they're all in different moods and on a different drug. And you have your 3 favorite albums playing in the background and like 8 movies on the TV all at once. Like, there's so much to this, you know? And that's where I'm like, that's why I'm very against it. I think Bo Burnham also said this. Is he like, could we consider him like a resident expert on social media? I gotta be honest, I'm not that familiar with Bo Burnham. I know he did Inside, which I never watched. But he also has done other stuff, I think. He's done other specials. He has that one song, like, I am an artist, please God forgive me. That song, he has that I think that's also from a special. Either way though, I think he also said that like, I think social media is gonna be like cigarettes where everyone's on it and doing it right now. But in like, you know, a couple of years, we're gonna be like, wow, we really should not have let just everyone hop on social media. Which is if that was Bo Burnham, or if it's not Bo Burnham, take the credit because you were right. Because like, I think in Australia is it, where it's like you gotta be a certain age to go on social media now. So he's right, like they are doing that. He definitely hit the nail on the head with that one. when I started Paint and Talk, like the first couple episodes, my left arm would be sore after holding the palette like at a right angle for that long, and it stopped obviously because I would just hope it would after a little while. And now though it's kind of starting up again because this is a much heavier palette. So I'm very excited to not use this palette again tomorrow. But back to Bo Burnham, or whoever this mystery quoter is, they're completely right that like now we're seeing it as like, oh, that was a kind of a bad thing. We shouldn't really just let everyone go on this and do this. Okay, so also I keep swapping back and forth between painting a lot this episode, so sorry about that. I thought clouds would be really fun. I have like this thing where I love clouds that look like they're in a painting, and I've never once painted a cloud. So this is like a canon event that I feel like is going on right now, painting clouds for the first time. And they're not coming out, I don't want to jinx it. I guess they're coming out okay. I think I just jinxed it, because right as I said that, they started going downhill. I'm literally doing 3 strokes, I don't know what I'm saying. That sounded crazy. Anyways, he's right. Social media is becoming something that's like a little bit regulated, and not in the free speech way that TikTok is, in like the very real way that like Australia is. Not that free speech thing that TikTok isn't a real thing, but like in the very real way of like Australia is going like, you got to be a certain age to go on this. And I think that's so true, because so growing up as a kid, I think I had Snapchat when I was like in middle school, definitely got on Instagram at like 14 kind of thing. I cannot imagine if you handed me TikTok when I was 10. I was on YouTube since I was 10, and I would watch an unhealthy amount of, oh my god, I can't believe I'm about to admit this, Shane Dawson conspiracies were my big thing. Huge Shane Dawson conspiracy theory fan. I don't know what happened with that drama that he was in. I think he's off the internet now. I don't know. I stopped watching him when I was probably 13. And when I saw all the thumbnails about his like life being over, like his whole business enterprise going downhill, I was like, I don't want to know. I just kept it walking. I did not want to hear about that. Okay, so these clouds are bad. Yeah, okay, so official verdict, the clouds are bad. And that's so sad, because I thought I'd be able to paint clouds in a cool, fun way. I thought they'd be fun, trendy clouds. They're not. So that's really upsetting. But this is where I think the main idea that I have comes in, right? We are so much more connected than ever, but I think it's led to us being more alienated than ever. And I don't know why. I think a part of it could be desensitization. We're desensitized. I don't want to keep saying desensitization. Desensitization. I'm not going to keep saying that, but we're so desensitized now, right? And I think that could definitely be a part of it. And I don't mean that in just like the way of like, we're desensitized to like global events, because we are definitely. Like for an example, I was walking the other day with 2 friends, and like someone mentioned something about like it was either a terror attack or a school shooting. See, I'm doing it again right now. But we all like we said, and we're like, oh wow, that's crazy. And like we all took a second after that, and we're like, wow, like if you were to tell us that exact same piece of information, not even like 5 years ago, we would be like asking every question in the world. We'd be like, so what happened? Why'd they do that? How'd they get in? Who was their target? Did they leave anything? Is it on the news? Like, there'd be a billion questions, but all we had now is like, oh wow. And this is obviously a very extreme example of violence. An example, by the way, that I think a lot of us can probably relate to, because it's, we're all so desensitized to this. But like, I think maybe that's happening in every regard, where it's like, when I see my friend post a million pictures of their new vacation, by the time I go see them, it's kind of like I was saying with the Doritos before, like Dorito texts, which is something I'll be trademarking after this. Like when we see a million pictures of their vacation, so by the time we go to hang out with them, it's like I don't even care about the vacation. I don't even want to know about it anymore, because I already know everything. I saw you posted that meal you got. And now I feel like so many conversations that, not so much anymore, again, because I don't follow my friends on social media anymore. I just use social media for this stuff. But especially like back in like a year or 2 ago when I was like still heavily on Instagram, I feel like a lot of conversations with friends would be reduced down to like, oh, I saw you posted this. Oh, I saw you posted that. And the only like things that we would really catch up on were A, gossip that we didn't post about, or B, major life events that were too bad to post. And it reduced all the conversations down to very like, just not good. Like they just weren't, it's so much more interesting when you go see a friend and you had no idea that they just got back from the Bahamas, or they were in the Bahamas for, a family wedding or anything like that. When you know way less going into a conversation, it's just more interesting, right? Like I feel like that makes enough sense. So like when you're posting, when everyone's posting a lot of stuff, and for some people this definitely isn't as true as others, I know I have some friends who don't post anything, so that's, part of it. But a lot of those friends too will text a lot, so I already know what's going on in their life. But I think like by being connected, we're kind of desensitized to like just general things going on. Not desensitized in the term of like, maybe desensitized isn't the word. I think that has to specifically do with like violent stuff, right? Or like tragedies. Is overexposed, would that be a better term? One of those two things is happening for sure. Where it's like we're seeing too much and we're not curious enough anymore because we have all the information about each other at our fingertips, right? If you watch any old movie, which I wasn't around in the 90s, so I can't say for sure, but like a lot of the time they're always like, oh, you have a new boyfriend, you have a new XYZ, and like that seems like that'd be a topic of conversation. Don't know anymore because you just hard launched on your Instagram story to that song Cherry Pie. That has never happened to me. I'm trying to convince one of my friends to hard launch his new relationship to that song though, because I think it'd be funny. But see, I already know about that. Like I already know about his relationship before he even hard launched it. So now there's nothing interesting to say. Like I think this is a spot in which we're genuinely alienated. Another major spot, and this is something that I think, like what I just said about like us being overexposed, I think I stand by that. I think it's fairly true. But I also think that's a relatively like roundabout way of saying we're alienated. I think a much more, oh no, that's not good. So the white, I just took a little green off there and brought it down. Okay, we're gonna have to fix that. But for an example, something that I think a lot of people will talk about, like I've had a lot of conversations with people, just like literally coffee shops about this, where everyone has something to do now in front of them 24/7. So it's like we're not talking to each other anymore in that same regard. So like for an example, when you didn't have a phone and you had nothing to do and you'd go down to a coffee shop, let's say just, a local spot, you would just turn to the person next to you and talk or strike up a conversation because you're bored, and that's not weird. Now that everyone has a phone right in front of them, everyone has something to do all the time. I mean, listen, no hate to anybody, but your Instagram Reels feed is more entertaining than 90% of conversations. It just is. It is. Not in terms of, it's not more fulfilling, it's not better, but it's much easier to keep scrolling and looking at that than it is to turn to people. And I feel like because of that, we're all a little, slightly socially anxious for sure, and also we're just not talking to the people around us as much. And I think since we're not talking to the people around us, it's easier to, it's easier to forget that they're people too. And I feel like that's a very, maybe over dramatic message to pull out of there, but I do genuinely believe it's true. And I also would go as far as saying, I think you can see it in broader society as well as in your own social circles, right? So I know for me that I feel like a lot of the people I hang out with now don't, we don't talk about we don't include the people around us in the same way we would. It's almost okay, so here's an example. I don't know if your friends make these jokes or you've definitely seen them online though. NPCs or the coworker memes, right? I think these are so interesting because it's it's almost, and I'm not trying to get too deep about the coworker meme. I get it, it's just a funny meme. But also isn't it interesting that we have this designation now of people who aren't in my immediate social circle, and I view them as just an NPC? It's the guy I've walked into a coffee shop with, like friends before, and there'll be a guy literally jumping on the counters, like doing something insane, right? And everyone goes like, oh, NPC. And it's like, not that I said this in the moment, and I just laughed, you know what I mean? I kept it walking, I don't really care. But it's also like that guy jumping on the counters was probably the most interesting person on earth. Like, everyone's just an NPC now, and the term doesn't have any sort of like connotation with it. I think the coworker thing does kind of. I think that's more of just a meme. Like, the NPC thing was so interesting because it was like, there's no direct connotation of what makes an NPC. We just are almost like, no, those people, I don't know them, so they don't exist, right? And like, as much as I'm up here being a woke scolder and like joking and talking about this, I do the exact same thing. One time, I felt so bad about this, and it actually made me reevaluate like my whole social, like how I was socially. I was around a fire. Was it around a fire? I don't know. I was with a bunch of friends outside in a circle in the summertime, so I'm assuming a fire was there. And one of them brought over her new boyfriend, and no one introduced me to him. I came over like 20 minutes late. I was like, just kind of like, sitting down talking before everyone headed out, parted ways. And like, as the guy left, I said to everyone, who was that NPC? And I don't know if he heard me, but he never hung out with that group of people again, and I really think he did, and I feel awful about it to this day. But like, that's a great thing that like, not a great thing, that's not a great thing. I'm very upset that I did that. If he's watching this, I apologize. He's not, but if he ever does, I apologize. But it's a great example of like how I started to view things under this lens, right? Because it's almost like, okay, so this guy he's not someone I know. I'm being introduced to him for the first time. So instead of doing the very normal thing of turning over and going, oh, hi, what's your name? Or just, who are you? Something like that. It doesn't need to be like the most polite thing ever. I could have totally just, who are you? I could have totally done that, right? I was resorted to being like, oh, this must be an NPC. Like, the meme was really hot at the time, so I think it was also just me trying to take advantage of, the moment of that meme being a big thing, but it doesn't make it any less wrong that I did that. I'm not just trying to guilt myself over this for this whole episode, by the way, but now it really seems like I am because I said that. But the point is, I think that it says a lot about the fact that like we don't view people quite like we used to. And then I think broader, like on a societal sort of level, the whole thing going on right now with like immigrants, how there's a ton of like, oh my god, they're criminals, XYZ, there's like, they're really bad. And then if you look at the actual statistics, like they're just not, like they're not at all. And they're 99.9999% of the time really productive, hardworking members of society, right? Like that's a huge thing going on globally right now. Really scary stuff, really bad, right? I think that this could also be, which this has happened in history, so like this isn't my full opinion on this, but I do think it says something that we're so used to not interacting with the people next to us that we're able to so easily be like, no, they must be. Like everyone, not me, I've never luckily had been going down that line of thought, but like that the whole world at large is like, oh no, it's probably true, right? Because it's like, I live here in New York City. I walk around and I see these people every day. I talk to them, I'm friends with them. Like, I am very easily able to, go like, oh no, I get that this is not a real thing. Like, I get that these are good people and that we should never do something like this, right? But if you're living in the middle of Kentucky and you are on your phone all day, you're sitting in your, what do they live in Kentucky? Do they live in houses in Kentucky? You couldn't pay me $1 billion to go to Kentucky, by the way. But like they're sitting in their Kentucky homes, they're sitting in their KFCs, and they're scrolling Instagram Reels, and this is their interpretation of the world. You're not turning to the people next to you, and if you do, there's not a lot of immigrants in Kentucky, I don't think, are there? If they are, I'm so sorry for them, because why would you ever go to Kentucky? It's basically just the worst thing ever. I hope no one's watching this from Kentucky, but I mean, if you are, get out of there. Like, it's terrible. That, Virginia, Ohio, Alabama, I mean, like, really. I'm showing my northerner elitism right now, but I don't care because it's Kentucky. Like, come on. But like, when you are this removed from everyone around you, it's so much easier to believe the guy next to you is like an evil murderer and someone who's really bad, you know? And the truth is, it's just nothing's that bad. It just seems bad when you scroll Instagram Reels. Anyways, I think I'm done with this painting. Honestly, okay, so here's my post-game review. Not quite as good as I wanted it to be, if we're being honest with ourselves. Definitely, like, it's definitely solid, and compared to the level I've been at with these paintings, this is definitely a step up, so I'm happy with it. However, I think this weird thing happened. I don't know if it's a weird thing or if it's very normal, where since I did the varnish on top, the paint didn't really go down into the canvas as much as it usually does, so it couldn't blend over here quite as well as I wanted it to. Usually I'm complaining because the lines smudge too much and I don't like that. This time though, I'm complaining because the lines didn't smudge and I wanted them to. So this is interesting, isn't it? But overall, I think it looks pretty cool. I think it looks kind of like when you go to a painting class in your local area and you paint something really bad and you just go for the wine, which I don't drink, so I can't relate to that, but I feel like I would be able to relate to that if I went to one of those. And I'm really feeling that emanating from this painting. So it seems bad, and it is bad, but it's a step up. So that's all that matters. Whoa, I just knocked my mic. I hope that didn't pick up. But better today than yesterday. That's all that matters. Wait, was it? Oh my God, yeah, I painted that tree man yesterday. The bar was at the floor. I mean, like, come on. Anyways, though, you guys know the drill. Go check out this painting over on the Instagram. And until tomorrow, scroll some Instagram Reels. I mean, like, that was the message here, wasn't it? That we need to scroll some Reels. So hit up the Reels. Get behind a wheel and hit up the Reels, you know? Just driving and reeling.